Good morning.
Good morning.
What we're
What we're
going to be talking about today
is what I've called the biggest game in town.
My name is Walter
Durian.
I live in
Prescott, Arizona.
We became
aware of something approximately 10 years ago,
which
changed my life. I'll give a little analogy of how I learned about
the complete
financial takeover of the wealth of this country by composite government.
Back in 1989,
I lived in New Jersey. There was a governor by the name of Jim Florio who was running for office under a no tax platform. He won, and as soon as he got into office, a $2.8 billion tax increase was enacted, the largest in the state's history. It's obvious that the public was not too thrilled about Mr. Florio's actions, and one of the local radio stations, 101.5 FM, started doing some rabble-rousing, taking calls from listeners on examples of wasted spending in government. The first 2 days I was listening, and I heard people calling in with examples of 5,000, 15,000, 85,000 was the highest figure I heard. I pulled out the State of New Jersey's budget report, which was the only thing I was aware of at that time. They had $11 billion on budget, $6 billion off budget. Total annual service budget was $17 billion a year. I called into the show and I made the comment, come on guys, you're missing the whole point. The highest figure I heard was 85,000. The state's dealing with billions of dollars. I read off the figures. So if there's fraud, waste, and spending taking place on tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. The DJ at that time challenged us, the listeners, to start a tax protest organization to repeal the $2.8 billion tax increase. 10 of us got together the next day. I incorporated a group called Hands Across New Jersey. We scheduled our first rally 10 days out from that point. And basically, with the help of 101.5, we had 115,000 people converge on Trenton, the small shore points in New Jersey, effectively shutting the city down. Now, during the course of organizing that rally, I took over looking at the budget revenue and finance of the state. And I have been approximately for about 15 years. I was a commodity trading advisor. One of the first tenants of the World Trade Center back in 1979. And large figures did not bother me. $100 million and $1, there was no difference. So when I started looking at the figures on the New Jersey budget report, as I mentioned, there were $11 billion on budget, $6 billion off budget, showed net available of $25.6 billion. Then I asked myself the number one question that IRS asks in an audit: what are the cash gross receipts? I started noticing the large cash cow groups in the state government, the New Jersey Turnpike, Garden State Parkway, Port Authority, New York, New Jersey. The revenue was not inclusive in the budget report. I didn't see any large returns from investment funds on the budget report. I said, they have to have two sets of books here. They're not accounting for the whole picture. The director of the budget at that time was an individual by the name of Richard Keevy, who was on vacation the following Tuesday of that week. I found out who his lower assistant was, called in, and the conversation went just like this. I said, hi, this is Walter Durian. I'm working on a report for Richard. I'll have it done by Tuesday when he gets back from vacation. I need all the figures on the autonomous agency accounts, interest accounts, investment accounts. And the reply I got was, oh, you want the comprehensive annual financial report. Bing. First time I've heard that before in my lifetime. Got it that Friday. Started crunching numbers. It showed total liquid investment funds of $188 billion. $188 billion. Of which common stock ownership $70 billion. All known public and private corporations $10 billion. Insurance company equity participation $14 billion. On loan to public and private corporations $10 billion. I started looking for the total cash gross receipts, as I mentioned, what IRS would ask for in an audit. I found it on page 174. Now this is 1989's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. On page 174 under cash additions, all agencies, all departments, all sources. Here's the state with a declared service budget of $17 billion, who is bringing in $86 billion, $799 million in cash. I saw that figure and instantly realized the definition of syndicated organized crime. Here we had a representation to the public that the state of New Jersey was bringing in $17 billion, when in reality they were bringing in close to $86 billion. They had $188 billion in liquid investment funds. I also learned the principle of operation that day. Anything that was a cost and an expense. Traditional service side of the budget report, health and welfare, human services, motor vehicles, was left under the budgetary basis, and the public footed 100% of the bill for 100% of the services. Now, anything that was a profit center had the ability of being a profit center. Large investment fund that generated tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. Totally restricted by statute for no tie or inclusion whatsoever with the budgetary basis. Now, this is what I call the biggest game in town. I saw it first in New Jersey, and so the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Currently, I'm a commodity trading advisor. I was doing a national news line coast to coast at the time. Never heard of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. I wanted to find out why. I was mad. I mean, there was such a distinct difference between the revenue on the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report and the minuscule revenue that was shown now on the budgetary basis. I said, why did I not see this on a newspaper, radio show, TV show? Now, the department that mailed out the report, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, was from the Department of Treasury. I called the mailroom, and the mailroom usually doesn't get a call from the public, so they were very cooperative. I wanted to find out who the report was sent to. I thought it was a short list. They said, I'm sorry, sir, the list is too long, we can't reach you on the phone. So I started qualifying. I found out it was sent to every editor of every paper on the East Coast. It was sent to the deans of all the colleges. It was sent to the CEO and every one of the directors from ABC, CBS, NBC. When I verified that, I started smelling cooperative effort for non-disclosure. I then got the telephone number from ABC and NBC on whether the report was sent to. I called, and the conversation went just like this. Hi, this is Walter Beering calling from the Department of Treasury. We've been sending you our Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the last 14 years. We're doing a logistical survey on how many other states are sending you their report. Could you please tell me? ABC was getting it from 36 states, NBC was getting it from 34 states. When I heard that, now I'm getting very mad. I'm starting to see clear-cut cooperative effort for non-disclosure on the most important information that exists in this country, period. The extent of the financial takeover from the positive government of this country, the wealth of this country, with the cooperation of the city media for non-disclosure. My next step was I called New York's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. It showed approximately about $735 billion liquid investment funds. I then got the City of Manhattan's report. Now, when I mentioned the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, it's not just the state. The majority of all cities, counties, school districts, pension funds, autonomous agencies, such as the New Jersey Turnpike or New York Thruway Authority, put out a Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. When I got Manhattan's report, it showed liquid investment funds of $1.2 trillion, more than the entire state. My mind started getting boggled as to thinking of the composite totals for all the states, all the cities, all the counties. Subsequently, over the last 10 years, I've been factoring in and compiling the aspect of composite totals. The current figure stands at about $60 trillion plus in liquid investment funds. Composite totals for all cities, counties, states, and the federal government. Now, the viewers of this show would say, wait a second here. I thought we were in debt for the states, in debt for our school districts, or in debt for the federal government. Well, let me explain something. I'm going to give you the biggest wake-up call in your life. This example holds true all across the country for every city, county, state, and the federal government. You always hear the budgetary basis reference, the budget report. Now, I'll use this one example. Say, for example, you are making $100,000 a year, and your budget for operating your house is $20,000 a year. You could audit your budget 100 times over, count every nickel, dime, and penny on your budget report. If you spent $19,000 this year, you'd have $1,000 surplus. If you spent $21,000 this year, you'd have a $1,000 deficit. Now, in reality, if you decided you wanted to spend $30,000 this year on your budget for operating your house, would you go knocking on your neighbor's door saying, "Hey, John, I had $20,000 allocated to operate my budget, but I spent 30. Can I borrow 10? Oh, you'd pull from your $100,000 salary. Governments across this country, on the city, county, state level, and federal, have created a two-tier accounting structure. One, the annual operating budget, the cost side of operating government for the year. The money they bring in for the year to handle that cost and what they expend. What's being left out is the decades of investment wealth. Enterprise ventures generate hundreds of billions of dollars each year, which are not inclusive in the budgetary basis. Government has turned into a financial empire across the board. And the public basically allowed the foxes to write the laws on how many hens they can eat from the hen house. And of course, foxes being foxes, they've eaten all the hens. When you start looking at composite totals of revenue, basically, when you look at composite totals of revenue, compared to the private sector, government currently now is substantially bigger than the private sector. We're standing at about 65% government, 35% of the private sector. Now, when you look at stocks, as mentioned, New Jersey, I saw, had $70 billion in common stock ownership. That floored me. I never even thought about New Jersey as a state owning $70 billion in stocks. Composite total, city, county, state, and federal on stock ownership equates to approximately $32 trillion. That's over 53% of the entire open interest of all issued stocks from all exchanges is owned by composite government sources. You won't have one city or county or state owning a phenomenal base in one stock, but you'll have thousands of different cities, counties, and states owning the composite totals. They own over 51%. So when you look at individual corporations, Xerox Corporation, IBM, AT&T, the primary owners are composite government funds. And we listed as institutional funds. You see the word institutional funds, that is government money in most cases. So when you have a supposed public corporation, say 72% owned by composite government funds, I wouldn't call that a public corporation. I'd say that's a government operation. Xerox is approximately 72% owned by composite government funds. AT&T is around 42%. So on and so on. But the bottom line here is, when I learned this was a revelation that changed my life. Up until this point, when the comprehension finally dawned on me, prior to that I always thought the government was maybe 5% of the GDP of this country, and this was a free market economy, and I learned I was wrong. Basically what the public has done here, I did this, you did this, we all have done this, we left the vault door open. In fact, 95% of the public say, vault? What vault? And those sharp little crackers said, thank you very much, have a good day. Now, the Comprehensive Annual Finance Report, I brought, this is from Missouri, there's a total press blackout of mentioning of the name of this report, the Comprehensive Annual Finance Report. This is Missouri's of 1997. This is Ohio's cover page for 1998. I have State of Utah's 1998. I also have Washington's and Maryland's figures. Also, from the state of Arizona, the state of Arizona retirements fund Comprehensive Annual Finance Report for 1998, which I'll make some very interesting notations on. Now the federal government. The federal government buying financial statements, last page from the report. One notation, the federal government in 1981 mandated that all local governments prepare a comprehensive annual financial report, every city, every county, every state. Or in the alternative, a combined financial statement. They did not prepare a comprehensive annual financial report. The background on the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, a group by the name of GFOA, Government Financial Officers Association, in 1946 created the Comprehensive Annual Financial Reporting and Accounting Structure. I think the City of Manhattan produced one of the first ones in 1951 as a large entity. So the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report has been around for quite a long time. There are 54,000 separate government, corporations, cities, counties, school districts, authorities that produce their own separate report. It's 54,000. You start looking at the composite totals of the revenue from 54,000 reports, the cities, the counties, the states, and you see the $60 trillion inclusive with the federal government revenue. Now, about 5 months ago, I got a call from an individual by the name of Joe Long, who runs the Federation of New Jersey Taxpayers. He called me up on a Sunday morning and he goes, Walter, we just got New Jersey's 1998 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. They have $295 billion in liquid investment funds. Isn't that awful? I said, Joe, you're just looking at the state report. There's 21 counties, a couple hundred cities and municipalities, autonomous agencies, all separate reports. If you take composite totals of liquid investment funds, you're well in excess of $1.2 trillion. If you take the population of New Jersey, divided by 1.2 trillion, that comes out to a cash allocation of $146,000 per man, woman, and child living in the state, for a family of four, $700,000. The obfuscation of the wealth has been excessive. But just one notation regarding the federal. This is not just going on with local governments, city counties, the federal government is playing the exact same game. And I've noticed a lot of people always point the finger at the federal government as bad guys, but when you break down the actual revenue of the 60 trillion, two-thirds of it belongs to the local governments, the city counties, the states, and one-third belongs to the federal government. Now we're trying to do a close-up shot on this one page here. Okay, here we have this is the last page from the federal combined financial statement. This is the appendix list of significant government entities included in the combined financial statement. Now the majority of the items included, if we can scroll down the page here, you get a close up there. Now the majority that are included are agencies which most people are familiar with. We go back here. This is the final listing of agencies that are included. But the last column down below it says significant entities excluded from these statements. On that. Now they give honorary mention. They give honorary mention to the Federal Reserve Board of Governors and the Federal Reserve, which I think we all know by now are basically private. But then it lists the Federal Retirement Thrift Investment Board, the Thrift Savings Plan, the Farm Credit System, the Federal Home Loan Banks, Financing Corporation, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Sallie Mae, Resolution Funding Corporation. These groups are the cash cow investment groups of government. Now also I want to make special note to three items that are listed at the bottom. We have the Army and Air Force Exchange Service, the Navy Exchange Service Command, the Marine Corps Exchange. Folks, this is not the PX. We have funding operations for the exchange of foreign troops to the U.S. troops on the foreign soil, which they kept separate from the combined financial statement of the federal government, so it wouldn't be so easily seen. But if we take the federal investment groups, the cash cow federal investment groups, look at their revenue
And very
important, they have
a
a phenomenal amount of revenue on loan
that's
that's been loaned out there.
You
You take the accounts receivables and their current cash on hand, you come out to about a $16 trillion positive
on the
from the total operation.
So
here, even the federal government is taking their cost side, the expense side, leaving it on the combined financial statement. They call that their budgetary basis. But they separated the cash cow investment groups of the federal government so that they don't show on the budgetary basis. So currently the federal government shows a slight deficit on the budgetary basis, but the profit centers, which would show a $16 trillion positive, were excluded. Now, we started on national disclosure approximately 18 months ago on the comprehensive annual financial report and the structure behind it. And I think a few of you may have heard on the network news, the Fed saying, well, by the way, we happen to find that we're going to have a $6 trillion surplus when we get to the year 2004. They mentioned the surplus, $6 trillion surplus. Keep in mind that $6 trillion surplus is on a budgetary basis. We're not including the cash cow investment agencies. If they're being 100% honest, inclusive of all revenue, the federal government would have approximately a $12 to $14 trillion surplus. In fact, if they included the cash cow investment agencies in with a budgetary basis, they would probably have a 15% reduction across the board of all taxation on the federal side. Something to think about. Let's go back to the local governments. The states, cities, the counties, they have their budgetary basis, the annual operating budget, but they have enterprise funds. In my little city of Prescott, Arizona, where I live, the city owns a golf course. Why does the city own a golf course? So the judges and the attorneys can get lower green fees. Here's a $45 million asset, which is paid for by taxpayer funds, developed, and not $1 goes back to support the budgetary basis. They have investment funds sitting as idle funds, $48 million. Now, with this much money out there, this phenomenal base of wealth, empires that are being built, it was mandatory to keep the public oblivious to what was going on. If the public was aware this type of wealth was being built and obfuscated as tax dollars are being drained out of their pockets where people are citing a shortfall of budgetary revenue, there would have been an uprising 30 years ago. But the government, to perpetuate this game, they needed the 100% cooperation of the syndicated media that they have. You will not see ABC, NBC saying, oh, by the way, we just happened to find out about the comprehensive annual financial report, and we found out that the budgetary basis is this big, but revenue shown on the comprehensive annual financial report is this big. You will not see that happen. They have been in cooperative non-disclosure for 25 years. That's why the situation is taking place. It's mandatory to get the word out. It's mandatory to have your local radio show, your local TV show, call in and mention the comprehensive annual financial report. Depending upon what city, what county, what state you're looking at, the ratio of the budgetary basis, the annual service budget, to the reality of the total wealth usually ranges from a percentage of 8 to 1 to as high as 40 to 1 in comparison between the budgetary basis and the reality of the wealth. It's not right. A little in retrospect, what I've learned, it reminded me of something I was taught in grade school. I remember back in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, I'd hear a lot about Russia and how the control Russia had over the public was bad. When you look at the financial takeover of the wealth by composite government in this country, it dwarfs the control Russia had in comparison based on that financial control. In fact, did you ever wonder why Gorbachev went Democratic? He looked and he said, hey, the boys in the United States have more control than we do, and they're making 10 times as much. I had a federal auditor of 30 years. I briefed him 8 months ago. He was in charge of auditing one of the largest federal agencies in the country and also 8 of the central western states prior to his retirement. He was always looking at individual budget reports, the individual leaves, branches, and trees in the forest. And I briefed him on the composite totals. floored him. He verified. And 3 months later, he made the comment to me. He goes, Walter, what we have here in this country is 100% communism under the guise of a free market capitalist system. Because the government owns everything. The public is constantly complaining about higher taxes, more money being taken for this, for that. And they're conditioned. Year in and year out. We had the Boston Tea Party, I think it was for a 3% tax on tea. Caused the revolution. Here we've been conditioned to 45% of our pay. Going back to government. When you look at all aspects of what the government's getting, export tax, import tax, duties on manufacturing, the composite total is phenomenal on the money is taken by government. The principle of operation in this country is the boys running this structure, they keep the chipmunk. They keep the chipmunk running on the treadmill, chasing the carrot. And through trickle-down economics, we provide just enough revenue to keep that chipmunk running at optimum efficiency as they tap off 80% of the energy produced. This is not right. The country was established for the public to rule in this country. For prosperity, for our families, education, the whole 9 yards. If you see the country going down the tubes, it's strictly due to the factor that we have greed taking place on an unprecedented level in all levels of city, county, state government, federal government. Empire building. Power mongering. And you start breaking down the figures, using fifth grade addition skills, deciding where to look, adding up the deposit totals. As I mentioned, there's 54,000 local government, separate reports, separate corporations, school districts, cities, counties, states, autonomous agencies, 54,000. The total of that revenue is phenomenal. I have the summary from the state of Washington. I'll choose for an example. I'm not picking on Washington, but Washington State. On the statistical section, which is in the back of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, it shows the 10-year demographics of revenue taken in, population growth, the whole 9 yards. Retail sales, top employers. Washington State, and of course, for a 10-year period of time, there was a 100% growth in government. During the same time period of time, government took 115% more revenue. The revenue over doubled in 10 years what they're taking from the public. You have a runaway freight train. As I mentioned, the public left the vault door open. A sharp little practice said, thank you very much. On the government pension funds, city, county, state, federal, they're standing at about $28 trillion. $28 trillion. The private sector will never see $28 trillion in their lifetime. I go back to that word, Russia, communism, under the guise of a free market capitalist system. The figures are there. We're not talking about any gray area. There's no speculation here. This is outright their figures. This is a massive operation. It's a multi-trillion-dollar organized syndicate of composite government wealth. They needed to keep their own accounting of their own structure. The Comprehensive Annual Financial Report was their accounting. The Comprehensive Annual Financial Report showed the wealth. And the reason it was never mentioned to the public was it did show the wealth. Let's take a break right now. We'll get back into this in a minute. Welcome back. Previously I had mentioned the state of Washington and the growth of 115% on the revenue taken. Now, I've had people look at their comprehensive annual financial reports and they'll say, well, the figures are all here, it's all here, and they account for everything. Here's the billions of dollars. I said, you're seeing the billions of dollars you never saw before in your lifetime. You're now seeing them for the first time. You now realize the scope of the billions. I want to show you one other point. Now, going back to the chart, this is from Washington's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report 1998. It gives 10-year demographics of the revenue taken in a 10-year period. I think you should be able to see these figures. This starts in 1989. This is in millions of dollars. The total taken by the state from the public was $9,514 million. Now, as we go through the years, 1990, 91, 92, over to 1998, the total revenue now taken was $18,008 million. So we went from $9 billion to $18 billion. And of course, for 10 years, that's 100% growth. This is ludicrous. The population growth in the state of Washington was approximately 8% during the same time period. By the way, that is total revenue taken. The budgetary basis for the same period went from 6 billion. Went from 6 billion to approximately 10 billion, 900 million in the same period of time. That's the budgetary basis, but the total revenue taken is 18 billion. So it's a $6 billion disparity between the budgetary basis. So we're not just talking the extent today of how much money government has taken from the public and the decades of wealth that's been building. We're talking also the runaway freight train of growth on the city level, the county level, the state level. If you go back 25 years ago, government was approximately 6 to 8% of the GNP of this country, gross national product, total revenue base. Currently, today, composite government, city, county, state, and federal is 48% of the GNP based on cash and ownership. This is not right. We fell asleep at the wheel. We allowed it to happen. You have to realize this is the largest organized syndicate, a multi-trillion-dollar organized syndicate, with thousands of facets. That spends billions of dollars to make sure the public is looking off in right field as they conduct business as usual on left field. You'll see the orchestration in the media on different events, which keep the public spinning their wheels over here. As the boys are making their billions of dollars over here. They laugh every single day. They're becoming wealthy. Empires are being built. When you look at the $60 trillion in liquid investment funds, the composite total, the billions. Let's look at a state like California, with approximately $12 trillion under management. Now, under the comprehensive annual financial report, you'll see about a total maximum about $3 trillion. But when you start tracking down the cities and counties, all the revenue base, you're up to about $12 trillion. Now, in California, say for example, one of the investment managers who's handling, say, $400 billion in funds. And he has a $150 billion with shares in American Express, institutional banking. That's a very powerful position. If that individual contacted the director of the institutional banking and said his brother in Argentina needed a $120 million loan in Argentina for a sugarcane energy development project, unsecured, you think he's going to say no? I don't think so. He'll have one of his associates from another company he deals with closely cut the loan. If it's defaulted on, he'll just make up the difference of some business he'll do with that firm. The power mongering and the elbow rubbing that takes place here is obscene. It's not just one group, one organization doing it. It's the principle of operation.
When we started on national disclosure 18 months ago, I've had thousands of phone calls from people all over the country. I'll get a call from New York. Walter, I just got the New York Thruway's comprehensive annual financial report. They had $31 billion in liquid investment funds, and they're still charging us. I say, don't worry about it. I'll get a call from Anchorage, Alaska. Walter, I just got our comprehensive annual financial report for our city. They're making $100 million more a year than they're showing on the budget report. I'll say, don't worry about it. I said, stop focusing in on a leaf, branch, or tree in the forest. Start focusing in on the forest. Understand the principle of operation of the forest. There's 10,000 of these operations going on all over the country. I said, if you're going to apply your efforts, change the principle of operation of the forest, which will affect every leaf, branch, and tree in the forest. That's the bottom line here, folks. We're not talking any gray areas. There's no speculation here. This is black and white. You know, the public has been complaining for the last 25 years. Every problem I've seen in this country to date has to do with extortion of revenue from the public. Period. It is the root of evil in this country. The wealth being taken from the populace. And one of the problems here is a lot of people have been looking for the needle in the haystack, trying to find government corruption and wealth being stolen from us. Well, we're not looking for the needle in the haystack here, folks. It's the haystack sitting on top of the needle. All you have to do is look and start adding up positive figures. Stop being distracted by one leaf or branch and tree in the forest. Start qualifying the forest. And when you do, you'll see the clear and unequivocal financial takeover of the wealth of this country by composite government. Right from the city level to the state to the federal level. Power mongering, it's empire building. The boys that are in there on the inner circle, the wealth is absolute. I'll give you a few examples going back into New Jersey 10 years ago when I got New Jersey's comprehensive annual financial report. They listed the state universities and colleges, gave a possible total overall. I noticed right off the bat they had $8.5 billion in liquid investment funds. This is 1989. It also showed they made a $1.1 billion profit on their investment funds for the year. My next question is to myself, I wonder what the total tuitions are for all students attending colleges and universities in the state. Total tuition base was $644 million. So right off the bat, hey, they made a $1.1 billion profit. Total tuition was $644 million. They could have sent all students to school for free for the year and paid them to go to school. In reality, what they did that year was, citing a shortfall of budgetary revenue, they had a 7% tuition increase. The game is absolute. And we're talking there's so much money behind the game. And you have the participation of the syndicated media in the game. The public really has not stood a chance. The only way the public stands a chance is through full and open disclosure of the wealth. Not being distracted, sitting down and crunching numbers. Not looking at one leaf or branch or tree in the forest, start looking at the forest, adding up the totals, and it becomes evidently clear. Corrective action is needed immediately. With the scope of the financial takeover that is in existence today, they're consolidating that ownership. Within several years, you'll have the composite government owning 85% of the wealth in this country. And at that point in time, the public may just become a liability. They don't need them anymore. So it's very important that the public starts taking a serious look at what's going on. I'm going to go into two other points here. I'll give you an example from Edgefield County, South Carolina. I briefed a doctorate in economics. She wrote for a little paper in Edgefield County called the Edgefield County Advertiser. She got all the comprehensive annual financial reports for the state, the county, the city, and ran into a few obstacles trying to get them. They don't like to give them out in some cases. But she noticed that their school district, Edgefield County School District, participated in the local government investment pool. So she requested from the state, showed where to request the financial report from the local government investment pool, and showed that Edgefield County School District had $36 million invested in the pool. Now this is a school district which was rather poor and had several tax increases over the last few years, citing shortfall of budgetary revenue. She approached the county school commissioners and saying, what are you doing? You have $36 million sitting here in liquid investment funds? School commissioner said, we don't invest in any market. We don't have any money invested. You have to be mistaken. She then produced the financial report. His next response was, well, this is our account for paying salaries and expenses for the year.
She was
Okay.
She
produced the prior year's report, which showed they had approximately $29 million invested in the local government investment pool. Now, there were additions and withdrawals, principal never changed, and now it jumps up to $36 million. Close to a $7 million profit for the year. The money that's involved here is, on the broad spectrum, it's one big game. The politicians will lie straight to your face. As I mentioned earlier, when I found out about New Jersey's report, I found out it was sent to every editor of every paper. It had been for 14 years. It was back in 1990, I was checking. It was sent to ABC, CBS, NBC. When we started on national exposure, I've participated in about 60 radio programs, primarily reached about 25 million people across the country in the last 18 months. I requested that everyone send a certified letter to their editors and producers of their news shows, asking, requesting that simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report be made. All have refused. Now, the cutest response I got back was from someone in California around Bakersfield. The editor replied, "We've received your request. Keep in mind what was being asked was to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report." So we received your request. We do not have the staff or the resources to report on a story of this magnitude. So your request is declined. I thought that was so cute. Now, everybody remembers Orange County.
Years ago, Orange County, on their management funds, they got burned playing with derivatives such as options, calls, put features. Lost a little bit over $1 billion. And they're crying bankruptcy. We're going to have to shut down, stop all operations, close the parks, fire the police officers. Well, someone stumbled across their comprehensive annual financial report, which just happened to show that they had $16 billion in profitable investments. Well, all of a sudden, Orange County left the news, and everyone bankruptcy. In fact, Orange County created a situation where they drew the light to the reality of the investment funds, and they created liability for every other city, county, and state across the country by bringing light to their loss in the investment funds. So corrective action was taken after Orange County to make sure no one else ran into the same situation because I think everyone heard of Lucky Luciano back in the 20s and the 30s. There was something called Luciano's Law. Lucky Luciano was a banker for syndicates. He moved money between New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami. And Luciano's Law was, once you're suspected, you're out of business. Anyone who spoke Luciano's name regarding a transaction disappeared. Luciano died of old age, never got married, he got exported from the country, but never had a problem other than that. Government's been operating on the same principle of operation. If we're not suspected, we can continue business as usual. They have fronted up the budgetary basis to the public, continually, budget, shortfall of budgetary revenue. As per the example I gave earlier, the difference between your budget for operating your house and your salary, there's a substantial difference. And when you break down the comprehensive annual financial reports, as I mentioned, the ratio comes out 8 to 1 to as high as 40 to 1 in comparison between the budget and total revenues that are held by that government body. The examples I've given here, whether it be New Jersey, Missouri, Washington, they apply to every state, every city, every county. Some more, some less. I have a few notations here from Maryland. This is out of Maryland's 1998 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Let's see here.
Pension fund assets were about 31 billion. Total contributions were 814 million. Total investments return was 3.7 billion. That increased 3.5 billion. Okay, here we go. Total government wages in the state of Maryland. And by the way, on the comprehensive annual financial report, they're making a change. Each of us is the top employer in the state. And there always was the state, the cities, the counties. Usually government was 7 of the top 8 employers. They've now changed their statistical section to the top private employers. But if you pull one of the old comprehensive annual financial reports, which by the way have been sent to your local library, you'll find back issues going back 15, 20 years. The game here was not making the report not available. The game was never mentioned in the report, no one knew to look for it. So the game continued. But total wages for the year paid in Maryland to government employees was $15,349 million. Total private sector wages were $55 billion. Okay. Total manufacturing was about $6 billion. What this is saying is 34 people in the private sector working in Maryland are paying the salary of one government employee. It's not right. The growth is ridiculous. It's runaway growth. It's a very serious situation. Something needs to be done about it. Disclosure is the key factor. If you go to your editor, in fact, actually, your state, confirm that the editor of your paper has been receiving the report for 10, 15 years. When you go to him and ask him if he's heard about it, he says to you, never heard of that report, I guess I'll have to look into it. You'll know he's lying straight to your face after you confirm in advance that he's been receiving it. Require these characters to make simple and conspicuous mention. Require these characters to give the difference between the budgetary basis and the total investment wealth and what's held by government. Require it. And this is no game, folks. We've had our heritage stolen from us right under our noses. As I mentioned, if you go back 25 years ago, government was about 8% of GNP, currently we're saying 48%. That's a figure. That's a phenomenal amount of wealth. We have the largest orchestrated syndicate on the face of the planet, which is composite government wealth. Little notation, it's supposed to be a country of laws, correct? Laws are supposed to protect the people of this country, correct? Well, I got New Jersey's report. I had the pension funds listed. I didn't understand pensions or the actual basis used. One of our volunteers for Hands Across New Jersey, he wrote the pension funds for Blue Cross Blue Shield nationally. I gave him a book and I asked him to break down the pension funds and compare them to a Fortune 500 company. He told me it took him about 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I checked back and I said, well, what do you got? He was well on the scale from 1 to 10, with a Johnson & Johnson being a 5. He said all New Jersey's pensions came in at a 7, excluding the judicial branch. He said the judicial branch was the Millionaire Boys Retirement Club. Every state judge in New Jersey was guaranteed $5 million after serving 1 year tenure. In other words, they didn't have to work 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to get their pension. All they had to do is their tenure, 1 year. They got their full benefit package. Now, district court judges. How many of you out there think that district court judges have a pension or retirement fund? I guess you would assume they have a pension or retirement fund. Well, they don't. District court judges are appointed for life. They get their full paycheck for life and benefits for life. In fact, 2 years ago, they just took the action that when they die, they can assign their full paycheck and benefits for the life of their surviving spouse or dependent relative. Now, that's a sweet deal. The game is absolute. You know, we don't have the Joe Six-Pack crowd here watching TV that's on the football game. The surface crowd, surface factors on the face of the planet. They're one of the most sophisticated structures on the face of the planet, composite U.S. government, that is drawing in trillions of dollars. and it is turned into a parasitic situation. The blood is being drawn off the host. If you look at the public as being the host for the parasite, the parasite does not transfer bigger than the host. That's a serious problem, folks. Anyone have any raids? But the bottom line is disclosure. Now, the public has this phenomenal growth on its back. And the majority of the public, they keep saying to themselves, is there something wrong here? Why are things not right? Why are things going to hell in a handbag? The problem is, these guys are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars each, they have phenomenal backing to do what to perpetuate the game. The public is struggling to get by. The runaway growth is rampant. Doesn't whatever city you look at, whatever county, whatever state. The average is each 10 years. Now we're close to the rest ever got. And we have to make a decision right now in our lives. The commitment to ourselves. This is not right. We have to take corrective action. We have to change it immediately. We only have one advantage only. As I mentioned, this is a $60 trillion organized syndicate with thousands of staff behind it. The judiciary is controlled. The finances are controlled. The wealth is controlled. We have one advantage. The only advantage we have is we outnumber everyone that happens to be our country. Whether it's developed or not, we fell asleep at the wheel, we have to correct it. And part 2 of this program, we'll be discussing what I call a CITA, Citizens Investment Trust Account, which can be implemented by initiatives across the country. What the CITA is a organization started by the taxpayers. They will have CFA, Certified Financial Auditors, which will examine city, county, state, as would be applicable to those residents in that city, county, and state to identify surplus funds, venture projects, which no way government should be involved in, should be the private sector handling, which the CITA would recommend for sale. The CITA, upon identifying and recommending for appropriation of the surplus revenue, and also sale of different venture projects like golf courses, different other items which cities and counties own. The revenue that builds up the CITA has one exclusive principle of operation. Exclusive principle of operation is set up as basically an annuity pension fund for resident taxpayers. From the interest and dividend yield that's accomplished, it is to satisfy the budgetary requirements for that city, county, or state. I'll use an example of my little hometown in Prescott, Arizona. I had a federal auditor look over the books. They identified $200 million in the cursory review, first glance. The city's operating budget is $17 million a year. If you include the school district, turns out to $34 million a year. Current rate of return 17% on the investment funds. At $200 million, that's $30 million, that's 15%. There goes the budgetary base. In fact, the $34 million that they're collecting, 30 of that surplus revenue for redeployment back into the CITA. They can eliminate the majority of all taxation and still have a surplus, which is returned to resident property owners as an annuity dividend check. Because it's set up for their benefit. Now, folks, what we're talking about here is not cutting back on the tax increase. What we're talking about is changing the principle of operation of government. Where from the existing liquid investment funds that have built up over the decades, the wealth projects that the government's operating right now, combining the operation as a whole, where the revenue that is, the surplus revenue, the revenue that can be reappropriated into the CITA, that fund, the CITA fund, just from the interest and dividend return on that fund can satisfy the budgetary requirements, thus eliminating all taxation for that city, that county, that state.
Also, it can recommend downsizing government to get it back to an appropriate proportion to private sector versus government. We have a chance here to change this country immediately through effective action and disclosure. We're up against a very powerful structure. The arrogance factor behind that structure is absolute. The top individuals running this structure on the investment side, the brokerage side, the banking side, they have egos the size of the World Trade Center. They have accomplished their objective. They have the control. But the public does own this country. Through effective action and unified force between the public, we can correct this in a very short period of time. The structure is built up over 65 years and can be reversed in 3 to 4 years. And if the public unifies across the country, it can be done on an effective level where we can eliminate taxation in this country for all time to come and create a situation where a dividend return comes back to the public. We'll continue on program 2 of this series on specifics on the CITA. I thank you for your time. Welcome to program 2 of the biggest game in town. The prior program, on program 1, we discussed the comprehensive annual financial report and the structure behind it. That structure shows the clear and unequivocal financial takeover over the wealth of this country by composite government. On the local side, cities, counties, states, and federal, 54,000 separate individual government corporate entities filing separate reports with investment wealth, enterprise funds, venture projects, well beyond the scope of the public knowledge and comprehension. We're going to bring it within the scope of the public knowledge and comprehension for effective change. We left off on program 1. If you have not gotten program 1, I highly recommend calling the station and getting it out. There's a lot of information contained there, and you'll appreciate program 2 and program 3. At the end of program 1, we ran a little short of time, and I want to bring up one point. It had to do with the pension funds within government. This is for all those government employees out there who are about to find out there's a good chance they're getting severely shortchanged. It's not just the public, friends. The same is happening to your government employee. Now, in my hand, I'm from Arizona. This is a copy of the State Retirement Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the state of Arizona, 1998. The state of Arizona, the state retirement fund has 175,000 participants, retired and active. Using the highest actuarial basis possible to determine 100% funding for all participants required approximately current standard about $14.5 billion. Now I have a page from the report, page 42. I'm going to put it up on, I think you should see this.
Now we're going to page 42 here. On camera 3. Now, right here, it says let's see here. This is for the total actuarial accrued liability. And what total actuarial accrued liability means is what is required, the money required for 100% funding of all participants in the fund. That figure is $13,638 million. With $13,638 million, this funds 100% of all 175,000 participants in the fund. Now I have a separate page in this report. This is page 15 from the Arizona State Retirement Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. The total assets of the fund is at the end of June 30th of 97 is $20,353 million. As I mentioned, the total actuarial liability was about $13.5 billion, and they're sitting with $20,353 million. Now the current report, the current figures, as called, verifying the standing of the fund. The current actuarial accrued liability is approximately $14.5 billion now. The fund's balance, after doing a 16.65% rate of return for the year, is standing up close to $28 billion with contributions and returns into the fund. Allowing for 125% funding of all employees, 100% funding in their pensions, they're $9 billion overfunded. In other words, the Arizona State Retirement Fund is reaching 200% funding. There's not one city, county, or state statute that even addresses the return of surpluses back to the employee or the employer. The cities, the counties, the school districts, the state agencies. Legislature showed their culpability 2 years ago on these surpluses. With these surpluses in the pension fund, there was no requirement for any payment from the employees or the employers. In fact, they should have been getting substantial refunds back. What legislature did was they passed around an internal statute mandating to participate in the fund a minimum payment of 2.18% from the employee and the employer as a separate statute. They didn't want to return those billions. When you break down within the report where those monies are invested, there's what I call the blue list of stocks and investments. Things we all know, you can recognize easily, and then there's what I call the red list. Things I've never heard of before. I'd be very interested to find out what judge, what attorney, what congressman, what senator, what county supervisor is behind those investments, who is the shell owner of some of those investments, and how many of those investments are actually real corporations providing good products and services, and how many are shell corporations. Be very interested to find out that. But the administrator of the fund I chatted with about 2 months ago, and I brought up a point on allowing for 125% funding of the employees' pensions. That freed up $9 billion. But you cannot return $9 billion in investments through liquidation without causing a major catastrophe, because Arizona liquidated $9 billion in pension funds to return to the employees and the employers. Every other state with substantial surpluses, and theirs would say, oh my God, Arizona's moving open, we better liquidate our funds. You know, while we still have a chance, we could create a 1929 scenario crash. Everybody moves at the same time. And so there was a very easy solution. For the government employee, based on his pro rata share participation in the fund, he is issued an individual IRA account as his refund. Nothing liquidated, nothing sold, paper transfer, total order, no problem. for the city, the county, the school district, the state agency, based on their pro rata share and participation in the fund, they're issued a individual market annuity fund as a refund. Nothing's liquidated, paper transfer, same management, no problem. Now the interesting point is on the refund. Just from this one account. One fund. The state of Arizona retirement fund. Just from the surplus. Back to the employees and the employers. It's $4.5 billion back to the employees. $4.5 billion back to the employers. And there's still 125% of it. I asked if Mr. Kubidangas, yes, sure, if there was a law addressing it, we could easily do it. And the rightful beneficiaries from this one fund, being as a retirement fund, would be the employees and the employers. But the refund back to the cities and counties and school districts, just from that refund, the return, as I mentioned, they accomplished 16.65% rate of return this year. That's been roughly their average for the last 4 years. The return for the cities and the counties and school districts just so happens to equal about 15 to 20% of their operating budgets for the year. Anyone sense a tax reduction here? Now I mentioned at the end of program one, the CITA, Citizens Investment Trust account. We covered the points extensively as to the composite totals of government revenue, city, county, state, federal, equaling about $60 trillion in revenue. There is no national debt. There is no debt as we know it. They have a debt under their budgetary basis, their annual operating budget. The example I used program one was, if you had a budget for operating around $20,000 so you're bringing in $100,000 a year on your salary, you could have spend $21,000 on your budget and you have a $1,000 deficit. The same applies here. When you look at the budgetary basis of the city, county, and state, and then look at the total investment net worth, total enterprise projects, tollways, bridges, different venture projects they've started which are generating substantial revenue. If you look at the whole picture, there is no real deficit from the liquid investment assets. They could wipe any deficit instantly if they chose to do so. But on the CITA, the Citizens Investment Trust account, I'd like to cover that in depth. The CITA is established by the resident property owner, taxpayer, for your city, your county, your state. The CITA is initially formatted with the use of CFA, Certified Financial Auditors, to examine the books, city, county, state, as would be applicable to the residents of that city, county, or state, to identify surplus revenues and projects being operated by government, which should be operated by the private sector, golf courses, whatever. Places where government has started venture projects, which no way should they have their hands on. It should be sold back to the private sector. The CITA recommends the reappropriation of the surplus funds, which are identified into the CITA. It recommends for the sale of venture projects, their assets, which should be sold back into the private sector, for that revenue to be deposited into the CITA. The CITA recommends for the downsizing of that government, city, county, or state. As I brought up in program one, each 10 years there's been about 100% growth in government on the city, county, state level, in general across the country. The CITA can have a phenomenal amount of revenue built into it in a very short period of time. I use the example of my hometown, Prescott, Arizona. A CFA identified $300 million in surplus funds and a cursory review. The city's annual operating budget was $17 million. The school districts included, they came out to $34 million. $200 million on deposit with the CITA, generating 15% return equals $30 million. That eats up the budgetary basis. In fact, the city is still collecting $34 million to support their operations, which makes the majority of that funds at that point in time surplus revenue to deposit back into the CITA. You can eliminate taxation at that point in time in most areas, and there's still surplus in the CITA, and being that the CITA is established as an annuity pension fund for the taxpayer, when it has a surplus, the resident taxpayer gets a dividend check on top of no taxation. It's where it should have been 200 years ago. And it's possible to happen right now through disclosure and effective action by the public. I think we're all tired of having the people building their empires within their city, their county, the state, or the federal government imposing their will for more money and more revenue from us. The one thing I'd like to bring up, make myself perfectly clear. Most people are familiar with taxation. Okay, sales tax, property tax, taxation. When you break down government structure, and you look at where the revenue is coming from, all right, especially the money on the investment return. For the decades of wealth that have been building up in different areas, which the public, in most cases, is totally oblivious to, but they can see if they look. When you look at the entire structure, taxation, including on the federal level, is approximately 30-35%, in some cases 40% of the income for that government body. They're bringing in the majority, at this point in time, they're bringing in the majority of the revenue, not from taxable sources, from taxation. They're bringing in the majority of the revenue from returns on investment funds, from enterprise projects, such as tollways, roadways, financial authorities. I've noticed in many of the states, as well as first in Missouri, there's the Missouri Finance Authority, the Arkansas Financial Development Authority. We have at this point in time states creating these financial authorities where the cities, the counties, other state agencies can invest with these financial authorities. Their surplus revenue, their investment funds. And these financial authorities, when they have the bond issuance for the school district, new roadway, county jail, and they have a bond issuance, most of the public would think that the bond issuance is being funded by the public. Wrong. The state's using their own investment funds, your money, to fund their own bond issuances, locking the public under irrevocable trust for repayment of those bonds. The state is securing their own return on their own investment funds, your money, through putting you in debt. Big wake-up call. The game is lying on a bridge. I mean, the whole point here, they operate with immunity due to the fact that the public is not looking. If the public looks and sees the scope of the revenue, where it's held, where it's built for years, you start seeing how the game is played. School districts, look very closely. If you look at the comprehensive annual financial report for the state, most states have a local government investment pool. And it'll list, get the report to the local government investment pool, and you'll probably see your school district, your city, your county participating. Give an example, Edgefield County, North Carolina, school district crying poverty, and someone dug into it and found out they had $36 million invested in the local government investment pool. Initially they denied it, and they tried to justify it by saying it was an expense account. Then finally the truth came out. They had shuffled away $36 million. Off the budgetary basis. It was an idle fund account. The public had no idea. And North Carolina also shows total participation of about $1.1 billion from other government entities within the state. So back to the pension funds, just let us one account. $9 billion being freed up. $4.5 billion back to the government employee. In fact, on the individual IRA accounts, returns to the individual government employee substantially larger than their guaranteed pension fund. In other words, from the surplus that exists right there in their one account, they would get a refund back substantially larger than their entire benefit package. That should touch the ear of every government employee out there. Now, I'm using Arizona as an example. I've looked at some states and they're just 100% funding on their pensions, some are 140, some are 160, you have to look. As I mentioned, in Arizona, there's not one city, county, or state statute that even addresses returning these surpluses back to the employer or the employee. You have to make it happen. On the CITA account, we have the ability here, folks, to change the course of this country to make the public the beneficiary of the wealth. It's been a runaway freight train. We all complain. We all, have our heartache stories about too much money being taken from us, from the city, from the county, from the state, from the federal government. We have been conditioned, psychologically conditioned, to accepting it. We have been given the term, the budget report, the budget, shortfall budget. We need to have money for this, money for that. There's no difference here. I'll use just one example. If everyone watching the show, say for example we had a 12 and a 13-year-old boy, and we gave him carte blanche to write their own allowance check each week. And we made $1,200 a week. In a very short period of time, they're going to be cutting a check for $1,000 a week. Now, if we said we're going to cut it back to $800 a week, that 13 and 12-year-old are going to scream, they're going to holler, they're going to kick, they're going to use whatever logic possible to them to justify how a 12 and a 13-year-old boy could not survive off of $800 a week. There's no difference here. We have bigger boys and smarter players. When you examine the records, any state, any city, any county, you'll see the growth. The runaway growth of government. It averages out to almost 100% growth. They double in size over a 10-year period of time. It's not right. You look at the scope of government 25 years ago was about 6-8% of the GNP. Currently it stands at about 48%. It's not right. It's money out of our pockets. It's creating a power base, a multi-trillion-dollar power base, which is totally contrary to the Constitution of this country, the best interest of the public. Its sole motivation is to perpetuate its own wealth and power-mongering and control the populace. Now, the composite government wealth that has been obtained right now by the cities, counties, and states, as I mentioned in the last program, stock ownership is at about $32 trillion, which is over 53% ownership of all issues on small exchanges. Government has become the marketplace. If you follow the hype on investing in the market and so forth, and follow the news, CNN, FNN, and you bounce in and out of the market, find yourself losing $10,000, $20,000, well, guess who your opponent is? Your opponent is the government. The composite government funds. They're not just liquidating your revenue through taxation, through tollways, through insurance company equity participation. They're liquidating your money through participation in the stock market. When you break down the numbers, it's there. There's no gray area here. There's no speculation. Anyone with fifth grade addition skills can start compiling the figures and see the unequivocal financial takeover of wealth. And we're at a crossroads here in this country. We left the vault door open. The Sharpsville Cracker said, "Thank you very much." We fell asleep at the wheel. We listened to the propaganda from the syndicated media, which is in 100% partnership with composite government. If you break down the revenue that's brought in from ABC, CBS, NBC, from composite government sources, city, county, state, federal, from the so-called public corporations, which the government owns over 51% open interest of those corporations, and they can exercise their proxy votes for direction to media campaigns. The syndicated media is getting phenomenal amount of their revenue from composite government sources. And back in New Jersey, when I found out about this, and I saw the cooperative efforts 10 years ago. I saw the cooperative efforts from syndicated media for non-disclosure on mentioning the comprehensive annual financial report, or mentioning the difference between the budgetary basis and the cash flow receipts and the investments. They would never mention that. Jim Florio was elected governor. When he was elected, he appointed 14 editors and reporters for directorships inside state government. The individual they put it against myself at that time was an individual by the name of Harvey Fisher, who prior to the Florio campaign was one of the top Bergen reporters. Now Harvey was appointed as the assistant treasurer of the state of New Jersey. And by the way, Harvey had no formal financial training whatsoever. He was now the assistant treasurer. This kind of skewed me. I started looking, Harvey was making $35,000 a year as a reporter. As assistant treasurer, he was making $65,000 a year. So that's not too big of a difference. And so I wonder what his expense account is. He had $125,000 car bonds, expense account, discretionary funds, tax free. So that makes a big difference. My father used to work for the Department of Treasury, Director of Personnel, for 4 years. As in charge of all agencies and departments within the state government. I knew within personnel they had a down search department run by 4 individuals, which tied all agencies and departments together under personnel. All resumes were key inputted into the data bank for keyword searches. I called up one of the 4 individuals, he was cooperative. I asked him to do a keyword search on all directorships and key-level supervisory positions on how many were editors and reporters in their past. Told me I'd have a report by 2 o'clock following day. I called back. What do you got? He came up with a data bank with about 3,400 names. As far as total supervisor and director positions. Out of that, I think it was 1,783 were ex-editors and reporters. The fix is in deep. There's a lot of money here. As I mentioned, I come from Prescott, Arizona. And I moved out there about 10 years ago. I found out about comprehensive annual financial report 10 years ago. The backed off from public disclosure for about 8 years, 7 years. But when I was out in my little city, I saw the local police suggested acting as a little organized crime syndicate with no fear or consequence or liability for their conduct or action. I saw the fix being iterated to the Attorney General's office, to the Governor's office, and I said to myself, what allows these local little guys to act like an organized crime syndicate with no fear of consequence or liability for their conduct? I said the comprehensive annual financial report. The only reason they do what they do on the lower level is because everyone above them has their hands deeper in their pockets. The same holds true in every city, county, and state across the country. When you have this type of wealth held in the hands of the management, the pension funds, the enterprise groups, the corruption is absolute. Do you wonder why that politician spends $400,000 to get into a $65,000 a year job? The payola from cutting one deal, a construction project, an investment, is worth 50 times the salary. The power structure is there. Needs to be corrected. The CITA, Citizens Investment Trust Account, is a viable vehicle for the public to get involved, to grab the bull by the horns and slip it on its back. Because through disclosure and looking at the figures, looking at the revenue, what they don't want you to see, you identify the money, revenue, the investment, you identify the power structure. You do not want to allow yourself to be distracted. Focus on the principle of operation. Focus on business as usual. Not what they're telling you to look at, but looking at the whole picture. Look at the comprehensive annual financial reports. Look at the notes within the report. Go to other reports to show substantial amounts of revenues. If you want to get to the state report, there's a website. It's www.financenet.gov/state, STATE/CAFR.HTM. If you go to that site, you'll get a listing alphabetically of all comprehensive annual financial reports available for downloading off the internet, city, county, and state. There's probably only about, let's say about 4 states up there in county. But it's a good starting point. Keyword here is, folks, we don't own the country anymore because we allowed it to be taken by a runaway corporate empire known as composite government. Government has turned into an empire. We are insignificant in comparison based on the wealth that has been confiscated from us. We own this country, and it's time to take effective corrective action. What's needed is for everyone across this country, state by state, city by city, county by county, to network together on this one issue.
Now the government spends. This is a $60 trillion organized syndicate. There's a lot of stakes for them. They've amassed their empire. They spend billions of dollars pouring out 40,000 red herrings to make the public look in this direction as they continue business as usual over here, unabated. It's time to have your focus. Learn basic condition skills. Have your focus over here. See the obfuscation of the wealth. See the totals. Realize that there's no deficit. Realize that there's no need for any taxation. When you look in the city county level, when you look at the total operation, all the whole picture, there's no need for property taxation. There's no need for majority taxation. And for it to be collected from you through misrepresentation, I consider to be indictable under the RICO Act for these government bodies conducting themselves as an organized crime syndicate, extorting money from the populace with whatever means they can possibly do it, justifying it for any means, just as that 12 or 13-year-old kid would do, because they are becoming drunk on the power and the wealth that they have so easily taken from us because we fell asleep at the wheel. It's time to get the gumption, the energy. This is a lot of money. If it's reversed now, it can be done in 2 to 3 years across the country. It checks the game cold on its tracks, and the ownership of this country will go back into the hands of the populace. To do otherwise is criminal. It is. Our heritage requires mandates that we unify immediately to put this forward. Let's take a break here and we'll be back in a little bit. Welcome back. In this segment, we're going to cover certain specific points to look at in our Comprehensive Annual Financial Report and which Comprehensive Annual Financial Reports to request. Now, I have a copy of the statistical section from Ohio's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which I'd like to make some references to. On the statistical background here, this is from 1989 to 1998. It shows the total revenues collected by strictly state government year to year. Now, if we go back to 1989, the total revenue take was approximately total revenue take was 15. This is in thousands. Okay, 3 more zeros at the end. Total revenue take was $15,704,000,000. If we go over to 1998, now in 1998 we're taking $27,215,000,000. So it gives you an idea of the substantial growth of the revenue being taken out of your pockets. Now, when you get your Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, they have a statistical section in the back, which is something that's very important to look at. I know that in Ohio, it has federal government money coming in. This was pretty high for the state. They were bringing in $8,353,000,000 from federal government sources. That's pretty high for the state. There's a lot of money involved here. As I mentioned, on the $27 billion in 1998, that is strictly from the state. If you add up the other revenue sources, city, county, municipality, authorities, substantially higher figure. They list in the report also approximately $188 billion as their liquid investment worth. It's a lot of money. But on the comprehensive annual financial report, as I mentioned, this reference the state of Arizona. You want to get your school district's comprehensive annual financial report. You want to get your city's comprehensive annual financial report, the county and the states, and any financial authorities that are operated by the state, and any special enterprises. There's a large tollway, a large bridge authority. Say, for example, New York Authority of New York, New Jersey, get their comprehensive annual financial report. If they say they do not have a comprehensive annual financial report, then ask them for their combined financial statement. Now, the key factor here is both the comprehensive annual financial report and the combined financial statement both end June 30th of the year. So whatever you're looking at, it should say ending June 30th of the year. Either CAFR for comprehensive financial report or combined financial statement. Now, I mentioned earlier a website to get downloads. That's financenet.gov. www.financenet.gov /state /CAFR.htm. Go to that site and you'll be able to download some of your comprehensive financial reports. You will also, instead of putting CAFR.htm, you can put reports. Or state /reports.htm. You'll also get other financial reports available. Now, the game here has been played regarding the obfuscation of the wealth boils down to non-disclosure. The reports are available for viewing. The game was not making the reports not available. The game was don't discuss, don't talk, don't mention. You don't know, you can't take effective action. So request the report. Also, the news media requests that they make simple and conspicuous use. There is no reason whatsoever for them not to, except for confirming their criminal culpability and non-disclosure. Any politician running for office, the governor, the congressman, the senator, the dog catcher, I don't care. Any person running for public office, the sheriff, if he refuses to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report from the podium, the platform, or in public forum, throw his materials in the garbage can and immediately look for another candidate. If that person running for office refuses to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report, they are confirming their cooperation with the non-disclosure. They do not have your interests at heart. They only have their own. They want to become part of the inner circle and perpetuate the game. They're not for your interest or your family or your children. Very important. But when you look at your comprehensive annual financial report, try to see the total gross investment figures that are on the combined financial statement. Start from there. Look through the notes of the report. I noticed in Missouri, I saw in the notes bond dividend yield, 47 bond dividend yield, $118 million. And it said, want to materials in the garbage can and immediately look for another candidate. If that person running for office refuses to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report, they are confirming their cooperation with the non-disclosure. They do not have your interests at heart. They only have their own. They want to become part of the inner circle and perpetuate the game. They're not for your interest or your family or your children. Very important. But when you look at your comprehensive annual financial report, try to see the total gross investment figures that are on the combined financial statement. Start from there. Look through the notes of the report. I noticed in Missouri, I saw in the notes bond dividend yield, 47 bond dividend yield, $118 million. And it said, why is the state declaring bond dividend yields?
That came back to the Missouri Financial Authority. They're investing in the state's own monies, and they had to disclose the return that was coming back in from their investments. Back to New Jersey. Mr. Roth refuses to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report. They are confirming their cooperation with the non-disclosure. They do not have your interests at heart. They only have their own. They want to become part of the inner circle and perpetuate the game. They're not for your interests or your family's or your children. Very important. But when you look at your comprehensive annual financial report, try to see the total gross investment figures that are on the combined financial statements. Start from there. Look through the notes of the report. I noticed in Missouri, I saw the notes bond dividend yield, 47 bond dividend yield, 118 million. And I said, why is the state declaring bond dividend yields? That came back to the Missouri Financial Authority. They're investing in the state's own monies, and they had to disclose the return that was coming back in from their investments. Back to New Jersey. 10 years ago, when I saw New Jersey's report, I noticed $14 billion in insurance company equity participation. And I said to myself, what is insurance company equity participation? I started looking, found out the federal government, back about 25 years ago, mandated that the insurance companies had to create a major catastrophe fund in the event of natural disaster. Large hurricane hit the East Coast, like 100,000 homes, a million or two automobiles, big earthquake hits California, same scenario. They wanted to make sure that they were covered. Well, this created trillions of dollars, which the insurance companies did not have at the time. The federal government gave them 10 years to implement the program. At the end of the 10 years, 94% of the revenue requirement was satisfied by state and federal investment funds. And when you look at the records, there's mostly a 2.4, 2.6% interest, well below prime. They invested their money. Now, what this means to the public in real terms, let's use automobile insurance. Benefit through given return to the people of this country by performing their function and business as usual. Thank you. Report, which I like to make some references to. On the statistical background here, this is from 1989 to 1998. It shows the total revenues collected by strictly state government year to year. Now, if we go back to 1989, the total revenue take was approximately total revenue take was 15. This is in thousands. Okay, three more zeros at the end. Total revenue take was $15,704 million. If we go over to 1998. Now, in 1998, we're taking $27,215 million. So it gives you an idea of the substantial growth of the revenue being taken out of your pockets. Now, when you get your comprehensive annual financial report, they have a statistical section in the back, which is something that's very important to look at. I noticed in Ohio, it has federal government money coming in. This was pretty high for the state. They were bringing in $8,353 million from federal government sources. That's pretty high for the state. There's a lot of money involved here. As I mentioned, on the $27 billion in 1998, that's strictly from the state. If you add up the other revenue sources, city, county, municipalities, authorities, substantially higher figures. They listed in the report also approximately $188 billion as their liquid investment worth. It's a lot of money. But on the comprehensive annual financial report, as I mentioned, I just referenced the city of Arizona. You want to get your school district comprehensive annual financial report. You want to get your city's comprehensive annual financial report. The county and the states, and any financial authorities that are operated by the state, and any special enterprise. If there's a large tollway, a large bridge authority, say for example, New York Port Authority, New York, New Jersey, get their comprehensive annual financial report. If they say they do not have a comprehensive annual financial report, then ask them for their combined financial statement. Now, the key factor here is both the comprehensive annual financial report and the combined financial statement both end June 30th of the year. So whatever you're looking at, it should say ending June 30th of the year. Either CAFR for comprehensive annual financial report or combined financial statement. Now, I mentioned earlier a website to get downloads. That's financenet.gov. www.financenet.gov /state STATE /CAFR.HTM. Go to that site and you'll be able to download some of your comprehensive financial reports. You will also, instead of putting CAFR.HTM, if you put reports or state/reports.htm, you'll also get other financial reports available. Now the game here that's been played regarding the obfuscation of wealth boils down to non-disclosure. The reports are available for viewing. The game was not making the reports not available. The game was don't discuss, don't talk, don't mention. You don't know, you can't take effective action. So request the report. Also, the news media requests that they make simple and conspicuous mention. There is no reason whatsoever for them not to, except confirming their criminal culpability and non-disclosure. Any politician running for office, the governor, the congressman, the senator, the dog catcher, I don't care. Any person running for public office, the sheriff. If he refuses to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report from the podium, the platform, or in public forum, throw his materials in the garbage can and immediately look to another candidate. If that person running for office refuses to make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report, they are confirming their cooperation with the non-disclosure. They do not have your interests at heart. They only have their own. They want to become part of the inner circle and perpetuate the game. They're not for your interest or your family's or your children. Very important. But when you look at your comprehensive annual financial report, try to see the total gross investment figures that are on the combined financial statement. Start from there. Look through the notes of the report. I noticed in Missouri, I saw in the notes bond dividend yield, 47 bond dividend yield, 118 million. And I said, why is the state declaring bond dividend yields? That came back to the Missouri Financial Authority. They're investing in the state's own monies, and they had to disclose the return that was coming back in from their investments. Back to New Jersey. 10 years ago, when I saw New Jersey's report, I noticed $14 billion in insurance company equity participation. And I said to myself, what is insurance company equity participation? Started looking. Found out the federal government, back about 25 years ago, mandated that the insurance companies had to create a major catastrophe fund in the event of natural disaster. Large hurricane hit the East Coast, wiped out 100,000 homes, a million or two automobiles, big earthquake hit California, same scenario. They wanted to make sure that they were covered. Well, this equated trillions of dollars, which the insurance companies did not have at the time. The federal government gave them 10 years to implement the program. At the end of the 10 years, 94% of the revenue requirement was satisfied by state and federal investment funds. And when we look at the records, it was mostly at 2.4, 2.6% interest, well below prime. They invested their money. Now what this means to the public in real terms, let's use automobile insurance. Auto comes under the major catastrophe fund. As I mentioned, large hurricane hit the East Coast, wipes out hundreds of thousands of automobiles, big earthquake in California, same scenario. Now I'll use Arizona as an example. In Arizona, minimum coverage is $30,000. And based on the major catastrophe fund rules, 1/3 of the value of the policy, face value, has to be up on deposit. So 1/3 of 30,000 is $10,000. That money being provided by state and federal investment funds, say at 5% interest for easy accounting, that equates to a $500 a year return. Now my auto insurance premium is $658 a year. Under this example, the insurance company is only getting $158. The government is getting $500 on the return. Do you ever wonder why they make it mandatory insurance state by state and enforce it by armed force? Every state with mandatory insurance is opening up a phenomenal investment pool for state and federal investment funds. And I took this a step further. I called the Division of Motor Vehicles in Phoenix to find out the total number of registered vehicles, both commercial and non-commercial in the state. To be registered required insurance, mandatory insurance state. I then called the insurance company database to find out total liability claims paid by all insurance companies operating in the state of Arizona. I then took that figure, added on a 35% markup to allow for a profit margin and operating costs. For a paper company, that's pretty good. I then took the total number of registered vehicles, divided it by that number. The average annual insurance premium, using those figures, came out to being $126 per year. Got the picture? Government has been getting into every aspect of taking money. The public's familiar with taxation. Taxation is actually turning into a very small portion of government's take. Investment funds is the primary vehicle for revenue generation at this point in time. Taxation is secondary. You have to start tracking down these investment funds. The next time you hear, shut the school down, put holes in the roof, we need to raise taxes to $1 million, or the police are underfunded, we're going to have to have pop up with, oh, by the way, they said they had to shut down the school. You see they have $42 million here in the local government investment pool. Why are you not using this? Now, Jesse Ventura, when he was mayor of Menlo Park, the city wanted to have a tax increase of $260,000, small increase, for the school district, because they were short fund of money. He looked and saw a $48 million investment fund sitting there and invested his idle funds. He goes, here, take it from here. And he was the first person to openly admit as to the difference between the budgetary basis and the investment funds. He was elected governor, and also the first step he did was to target $7 billion in surplus funds to return to the public. Now, legislature, okay, who had their hands very deep in the pockets here, went to block him on the $7 billion, and he was only able to free up about $1.8 billion, which equated to about $800 tax per million in the state. The bottom line is, it's a power game. With this much money available, especially with the public not even being aware, or oblivious to very well, the legislature, the congressmen, the senators, the judges, the attorneys, they're all fighting back and forth to see who can get whose hand in whose pocket quickest. And it's important for the public to look and start getting basic comprehension. Because the game is too big. I mean, we've let it go. And with $60 trillion in positive investment funds, that's ludicrous. We've lost control of this country. If you look at the court systems, the lawyers, it's a revenue-generating business. If you look at the court systems of this country, they're generating more money than any Fortune 500 company. Group of 10 largest Fortune 500 companies, the court system is generating more money. They're taking more and more money, any way, shape, or form. Insurance company equity participation. health insurance. You look at your county or your city, you'll find out that they're buying up all hospitals. You're wondering why they get such a big bill from the hospitals. They're participating on an investment level of the hospitals. The game has to be stopped. And the way the game will be stopped is through unified action from public toward disclosure. Everybody cannot sit back and say, well, somebody else will do it, let's watch and see what happens. You have to do it. Call your friends, call your neighbors, call your business associates. Get together. Confirm the extent of the obfuscation of the wealth. When you look at the scope of the existing investment funds, the scope, on the composite total, it shows that they're in an unequivocal financial takeover of wealth. When you look at the scope of the growth of government, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago, it's obscene. It needs to be checked immediately. Now, the majority of government employees, 98%, don't have a clue. They were not aware of the scope of the takeover. Everybody is too busy looking at the different trees and forests to see the forest. I emphasize focus on the composite totals. Now, since I started on disclosure 18 months ago, there was only one rebuttal. To any of my comments. I got an email from the head accountant from the Department of Transportation from Portland, Oregon, saying, oh, I don't think we're familiar with fund management. We declare revenue that we have on our report, which we haven't yet collected, so the figures are misleading. And I responded back to him, I said, sir, I'm sure you're doing an excellent job as an accountant for the Department of Transportation from Portland, Oregon, a budgetary agency, and all budgetary agencies are going through with a fine-tooth comb. I said, sir, look at your state's comprehensive annual financial report. Go through the notes, look at the balance funds, look at billions and billions of dollars of assets which you didn't even know existed. Look at the different funds and programs and trust accounts which you didn't even know existed. Okay? Once you see and look for yourself, there's the head accountant for this position. I said, that is the revenue I'm talking about. Then respond back. Never heard from him again. I guess he looked. Came a little too busy. I mean, you look for your comprehensive annual financial report. All cities, counties, and states, and different governmental authorities will have what they list as idle funds. And usually on the easily seen funds, they're paying about 5%, 5.5%, 6% return. It's very conservative management. That's one area, but what you want to keep your eyes open for is where they're getting 12, 14, 15, 17% rate of return. So it's similar to pension fund management. Currently, all government employees, if they ask, what are they getting on the pension funds, they think they're getting 8%. 8% is the standard used all across the country as an actuarial basis. It's a number picked out of the air by the accountants. In reality, pension funds are getting between 14 to as high as 23% return per year. Okay? You have to know to look and ask the questions. This is a very serious situation, and it's out of our hands currently right now. The scope of the growth of government, the revenue the government taking, the thousands of different entities that are just running away, taking more money like a 12 and 14-year-old kid, and justifying it for any reason whatsoever. If you look at school districts, they've done studies all over the country. They found that the school districts were getting the least amount of money had the best results for the children. The ones who were getting the least amount of money were having the least results. It's obvious. They don't have the children's interest at heart, it's the money. More wealth, more power. The public has to take a stand immediately. Now, Program 3 will be putting out the word across the country for the states, within your state, to unify and organize, to get ready to do effective action. As I mentioned, the CITA initiative, will do that. It opens up for full disclosure. The CITA publishes a annual report of identified surplus revenue, identified operations of government, which government should not be operating in, that only the private sector should be doing. They identifies areas for downsizing, what revenue will be made available for depositing to the CITA. That's published annually. And with the public seeing the reality of the ability to downsize, the ability for reappropriation of surpluses, the ability for sale of venture projects, which should be sold back to the private sector, and that revenue now, just from the interest and dividend yield, canceling out taxation in their city, their county, their state. I think this should motivate everyone across the country and create a tidal wave of effective action. Program 3, the first state that unifies, gets a council together, gets an organization together, and they're ready to move forward with effective action. The initiatives will be drafted, ready to go. That will be program number 3. When we're contacted, and we know that the effort has been made in that state, the first state to come forward with a solid group to make it happen, that'll be program number 3, showing that council and showing what's about to happen. And hopefully there'll be about 15 other states. Many counties, many cities ready to follow to implement the same program. The boys controlling the structure. Now, the real power structure of this world is the international banks, the brokerage houses, and the insurance company conglomerates. They are controlling the world. That $60 trillion is controlled under management by them. If you try to take the money from them, they will stop you cold in your tracks. But under this proposition, the CITA is identifying surplus revenues. They're shifting the wealth back into the direct benefit of the public for the elimination of taxation, and upon doing so, possible dividend return back to the residents and the taxpayer. Under that program, the banks, the insurance companies, the brokerage houses, they don't lose one dime, because they are still going to be managing the funds, accomplishing their best rate of return. The beneficiaries switch to the public. No longer will be the politician and no inner circle group moving the funds back and forth, investing the funds back and forth to their benefit. The funds will be invested for the direct benefit of the public under the exclusive principle of operations, and from the interest and dividend yield on those funds, the elimination of all taxation, and then also upon the downsizing of government, the annuity dividend checking issue for the resident and taxpayers. There is no better proposition, period. Now, the spin doctors involved in this multi-trillion-dollar organized syndicate will try to disrupt and confuse the issue. There should be no confusion. On your organization, state by state, county by county, city by city, try to find a CFA, Certified Financial Auditor. Very good at identifying the gain and revenues in other places. Look through those notes very carefully. When you're looking at your county or your city trying to identify funds, get the state report. The state report will list the local government investment pool and where to get the financial information on that fund. And it will list the city or county or school district and how much money they have in participation. Now, there's also another website, which is very informative. There's a website created by a 30-year veteran, retired federal auditor. It's www.caferman.com. If you go to www.caferman.com, the auditor is very conservative, but he spells out exactly what to look for. He'll give you an Excel spreadsheet where he'll tell you where to look in your comprehensive annual financial report to fill in the blanks to identify the surpluses. And shows you what it means to you. He also shows how to look at the state, the county, and the city. If you live in a city, the city has surpluses. The county which you live in now also has surpluses. And then the state. So we have three different entities, the city, the county, and the state that applies to you as a resident of that city. He's identified $28,000 in one state as an example. Very informative. That's www.conquerman.com. But, as I mentioned, the public is up against a multi-trillion-dollar organized syndicate that is well entrenched. They know exactly what they're doing. It's run by the sharpest minds on the face of the planet. The public is being basically they're the food for this organization. As I mentioned, government keeps the public running like a chipmunk on the treadmill, chasing after the carrot as to trickle-down economics to provide just enough revenue to keep the chipmunks running at optimum efficiency as they tap off 80% of the energy produced. It's not right. As far as government is concerned, productivity is the key word. They figure if they return the wealth back to the public, everybody will stop working and there's hyperinflation and major problems. I don't think so. The wealth is rightfully the public's. The wealth is not rightfully composite government and the small circle that controls the wealth. For information on the CITA, Citizens Investment Trust accounts, I can be emailed at CAFR1, CAFR1 at AOL.com. And if you request CITA information, I'll give you the basic format for it. If you're ready to organize in your state, you have a solid structure, a good structure, email me, let me know that's taking place. And if you're the first state that is ready for effective action, your state will be program number 3. As I mentioned, this is a multi-trillion-dollar organized syndicate that you're up against. So it cannot, whatever structure takes place within your state, it has to be between solid workers. Tell the pastor of your church, tell every business you know to pass the word. The game only continues through non-disclosure, and we have the ability right now, at this point in time, to mandate disclosure. There are enough intelligent minds out there that can use the count of basic addition, and they start looking at the reports and adding up the totals to confirm the theft of the wealth by composite sources. The growth, the obscene growth of government is obvious. If we unify at this point in time, we can correct it. I look forward to program number 3 and effective unified action coming forth from all the states in this country. I'm confident 15, 20 other states will be right behind. It's time to move and move strong and swiftly. I hope everyone does the best effort to correct the situation in this country. But, as I mentioned, any politician, any reporter who does not make simple and conspicuous mention of the comprehensive annual financial report, they're out of there. Gone. If an elected politician does make simple and conspicuous mention and mentions the difference between the total cash flow receipts, total investment, and the budgetary basis, which is that small compared to the totals, sponsor that person. Very important. Well, wishing the best for this country and every citizen. Have a good day, and I look forward to program number 3.
Rain. Check here shortly.
As a add-on to program 2, and for better understanding of the CITA initiative, as an aid to help anyone out there in their city, their county, or their state to start working on and building a CITA, I'd like to have some specific criteria for getting the structure going. On the CITA, the CFA, Certified Financial Auditors, who are now identifying the surpluses, they have to look at the 3 different areas. They have to look at the surpluses identified from the city, the county, the state-run agencies, county-run agencies, enterprise groups, the whole 9 yards, to identify these surplus monies for reappropriation into the CITA. That's area number 1. Area number 2 They have to identify from the enterprise groups within government, the golf courses, the tollways, bridges, different projects that government is operating, which should be returned to the private sector. Which the sale of these items back to the private sector would generate hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, depending upon what area you're looking at. Also, the identification of excessive growth within government that should be recommended for downsizing, which currently is budgeted. So in other words, if you're downsizing certain areas of government, you're now freeing up billions of dollars for use elsewhere, or reappropriation into the CITA. So with revenues being reappropriated into the CITA via recommendation, from surplus revenues, from the sale of items which no way should government be involved in, different venture projects, through the downsizing of different areas of government, the CITA grows at a phenomenal rate. Phenomenal rate. And the sole principle of operation of the CITA is, from the interest of the NEO on this massive trust fund that's building up, set up as an annuity pension fund for the taxpayer, the interest of the NEO subsidizes and cancels the budgetary requirement of government. We are changing the principle of operation of government here, which affects every leaf, branch, and tree within government. It makes government now not the runaway spoiled kid taking more. It changes the principle where government now becomes the prudent financial manager who is operating from the interest on the existing CITA fund account, and also monitored and streamlined where there becomes surpluses in the CITA for return to the resident property owners on top of no taxation from their prudent financial management of their operations. This is essential to have happen. Now, the CSAs and the CITA, their principle of operation, number one, what I recommend for the initiative is that the CITA and the management of the CITA and the CSA, which is a private organization run by you folks, the public. The public hires, fires, and determines who is going to be on the CITA and the CSA is used. These individuals, number one, they should be compensated from, first of all, the revenue that they identify for reappropriation into the CITA. They should get 1.5% of that revenue. Also on the performance of the fund, they should get 1.5% of the performance. They account for 17% rate of return, 1.5%, 15.5% now is going towards supplementing the budgetary basis. This gives them a phenomenal incentive to, number one, identify revenues, and number two, performance on the funds when they're reappropriated into the CITA. They cannot be bribed, they cannot be bought off. They have a phenomenal incentive for the growth of the CITA, which has the sole exclusive principle of operation of supplementing the budgetary basis so that government is operating the interest of the NEO, and also streamlining government so there's a surplus in the CITA. They maintain their jobs by performing for you. Now, being that the CITA is not a government body, it does not have governmental authority, they may identify funds and revenue for reappropriation in that government agency. They say, we're not going to give you one dime. That's a big problem here, folks. The majority of these revenues that they're identifying, the public was not aware of in the first place. The CITA, the CSAs are putting together a certified financial statement, which identifies the revenue, surplus, identifies the assets for sale, which are not benefiting the public, identifies the downsizing of government, which will generate X amount of millions of dollars or billions of dollars in surpluses. And if that government agency says, sorry. Well, through disclosure to you, the public will mandate the reappropriation, will mandate the sale of these items. The game is over, folks, for them. They cannot continue business as usual with disclosure. It's our choice. It's our heritage. It's our right.
We fell asleep at the wheel. We allow this to happen. We cannot depend on someone else doing it. We can't sit back and say, let's see what happens. We have to make it happen. History is written not based on best wishes and watchers. History is written based on doers and people that make it happen. Now, across the country, city, county, and state, everyone who is ready to stand up and take control of the situation for the benefit of all should be tracking down CFA certified financial auditors. Look at the retired community. There are many CFAs out there who would love to participate in this venture project to benefit the public. Find them, get them involved. Now, when the CITA is established, upon the identification of the surplus revenues and a certified financial report being put together and what's recommended for reappropriation, what it means on a budgetary basis, satisfying the budgetary basis, potential surpluses after satisfying the budgetary basis, that report is now distributed to the populace. You can then write an initiative or a referendum in your city, county, or state. You have this certified financial report in your hand, which states, with this being done, we can eliminate all taxation within our city, our county, our state within X period of time, if not at present. Additionally, with the operation of the CITA on top of the elimination of all taxation, we have the ability within X period of time or at present to offer a refund check to every resident of this community on top of the elimination of all taxation. Folks, this is the way it should have been 100 years ago. It's the way it can be tomorrow. Only if the public unifies in force to make it happen. We will allow a runaway freight train to take place here. As I mentioned earlier, 30 years ago, government was 6 or 8% of the GNP of this country. Currently, we're standing at 48%. It's time for us to take control of the reins. Folks, let's make it happen. Now, since disclosure started 18 months ago on the national level, I remember about 5 months ago, I had an email from a political leader out in the West. She wanted to know a little about the topic of the comprehensive financial report, and she basically said, well, this is very complicated. Can you boil it down to a simple analogy which everyone can understand? And I replied with the following. I said basically, we chose to, we had a government, which we knew we needed a military, we knew we needed protection of our country, we knew we needed certain services and conveniences provided by government. So, I refer to government as the foxes. The foxes have been writing the laws on how many chickens they can eat from the hen house. At first, out of our 3,000 chickens, we gave them 100 per year to perform their services for us. They ate them and said they needed 200 chickens. So we gave them 200. They ate them, and then they said they needed 400 chickens. So we gave them 400, but we started complaining, saying enough is enough. So the foxes said they needed 440. Justifying 440 with any logic available to them, but realizing that we were complaining about giving them 100, then 200, then 400, they, in their wisdom, started to put 150 chickens aside each year in their own hen house, held by them and undisclosed to us. Well, after many years, many decades, in the fox's own hen house, they have collected 6,500 chickens. Total available revenue, not tied directly in, the publicly known budgetary basis, or the operating budget.
As they continue to collect now 510 chickens. The disclosed operating budgets. As they cry to us saying, they are barely getting by on the 510. But since we are complaining about the 510, they will cut back the annual take to 490 at great sacrifice to them, the foxes. Well, folks, this is a pretty good analogy of what's going on in simple form. We've had the budgetary basis rammed down our throat, the budget. We have a shortfall of money for the schools. We have a shortfall of money on the budget for the police. We have a shortfall of budgetary money for the city. We're going to have to throw these little ladies out on the street. We can't take care of them anymore. We're going to have to shut down the parks. We have a shortfall of budgetary money. Well, folks, we have a two-sided game here. The budgetary basis, which you can compare to your annual operating budget operating your house. And we have the total revenue, the decades of investment funds, the decades of different venture projects that have built up billions and billions of dollars of assets, with no direct tie whatsoever with the budgetary basis. It's time to take back control. Now I'd like to address one issue, the most important issue regarding why this has happened. The obfuscation of our wealth to this degree, $60 trillion in assets now held by the government, would not have been possible without the 100% cooperation in partnership of the syndicated media. ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, the syndicated newspapers owned by a few in this world. It was in their interest to make sure business continued as usual for composite government folks. If you look at the revenue, hard march revenue they get from composite government sources, city, county, state, federal, grants, direct payments, it is a substantial portion of their annual revenue generated each year. If you look at the games that are played back and forth, the elbow rubbing is phenomenal. If you look at different state agency groups, federal, county, city, you'll find out a high percentage of ex-editors and reporters now in carte blanche executive directorships within state government, federal government.
I'm not sure what I got.
I mean, government has bought off the cream of the crop for reporting field. Editors, producers, directorships are given. It's like winning a lottery ticket for them. The fix is in deep here, folks. And in the media, they have been getting the comprehensive annual financial report for over 35 years. They know what it is. They know that the comprehensive annual financial report shows this much revenue compared to what's shown on a budgetary basis. Yet we have the media constantly referring to, well, we're short of budgetary revenue. This problem under the budget, that problem under the budget. Folks, pay your taxes this year so we can support the budget. Now, one mention of the comprehensive annual financial report. Now, one mention of the difference between the cash receipts and the budgetary basis. Now, one mention of the massive investment funds held with no direct tie whatsoever with the budgetary basis. Now, one mention of the autonomous agencies, the tollways, the bridges, the financial authorities, are not tied in with the budgetary basis, but not $1 goes back. Not one mention. This is not accidental, folks. This is intentional. I was doing a radio show a few months ago, Tom Radio Free America, and I mentioned to Tom the aspect of that the media is in 100% partnership with composite government. A few minutes later, he mentioned, it was, it's so hard to get the media to report on the truth and do their job. I said, Tom, I don't think you heard me. I said the media is in 100% partnership with composite government. They are doing an excellent job. They do exactly what they're supposed to be doing in partnership with composite government. To make sure the public is looking off in right field as they continue business as usual in left field. They are doing their job based on that partnership. It's important to understand, folks, that communication on this issue, to get the word out for comprehension, to reach every person in this country, it requires each and every one of us to pass the word.
There will be a total blackout from the syndicated media. They have perpetuated the game over the last 65 years through a total blackout as to disclosure. So it is important. In fact, you go to your editor or your news producer, you may see this show and say, I'm going down to my editor right now and make sure he knows about the comprehensive annual financial report. And we'll have this on the front page tomorrow. Well, folks, before you do that, call the mailroom of the agency that puts out the report. Confirm your editor has been receiving it for the last 15, 20 years since he's been editor of that paper. This way when you approach him, you say, I've never heard about that. I'll have to look into it. You'll know he's going straight to your face. Tell him to get out of town. I call this the intentional non-disclosure taking place within the media. I call it criminal culpability. Intentional criminal culpability for non-disclosure on their part. There's nothing. In fact, it's close to treason. Because through their non-disclosure of the syndicated media in cooperation and in partnership with composite government, they have facilitated the unabated obfuscation of the wealth from the rightful owners of this country. You, myself, all of us, the American people. So, pass the word. This has to get around across the country, person to person, mouth to mouth. We're not talking about any gray areas here, speculation. You look at the reports and you think grade addition skills, you see the complete financial takeover of this country. If you take the time, add up the totals, city, county, state, and federal, $60 trillion massive, folks, of which $32 trillion in common stock ownership. The government is the market. Period. It's time for us to take the reins back into our hands. Slow down that runaway freight train. We have to make it happen. And we have to know what we're up against. The media is we're up against here. On the non-disclosure, we have to break that wall of silence. Now, as I mentioned, we started this disclosure of the comprehensive annual financial report and the structure behind it. Started June 8th of 1998. It's been approximately 18 months. The first disclosure took place on Tom Valentine's radio show. And it was noted as being the most important issue in the last 200 years in this country as to what was being disclosed. 5 months ago, I got a call from Tom. I've reached probably 30 million people via 60 different national radio shows and 10 publications that feature girls. Nothing syndicated media, they won't mention one word. Tom called me, and he goes, Walter, because we're wasting our time. The American public is stupid. Here we gave them the biggest story in the last 200 years on a silver platter, spoon-fed them, and no one is doing anything for us the country. He goes, we're wasting our time. My response was, very simply, I said, Tom, we're up against the largest organized syndicate on the face of the planet, a multi-trillion-dollar organized syndicate run by the sharpest crackers on the face of the planet, who spend billions and billions of dollars to make sure the public is looking in right field as they conduct business as usual in left field. And they have the full 100% cooperation and partnership of the syndicated media to continue business as usual. I said, picture a 22-pound rock sitting on a mountain. You want to flip it off the side of the mountain. You apply 5 pounds of force, nothing happens. 10 pounds, nothing happens. 15 pounds, nothing happens. You apply 21 pounds of force. The rock rattles a little bit, but nothing happens. I said, with all of the disclosure that took place to date, the radio shows, the different articles that have come out, we've applied a 5-pound force on a 22-pound rock. Law of physics. Nothing is going to happen. I said, what is required? What is essential? Mandated here is for a few heavyweights. One or a group steps forward who can apply 35 pounds of force on that 22-pound rock. You want to see how fast it's going to fly? Real quick. So I emphasize the point. What is required at this point in time are for some heavyweights, sincere individuals who have the ability to take the bull by the horns and flip it on its back. come forward and apply the effort necessary so we can apply that 35 pounds of force on that 22-pound rock. If that happens, we'll start the tidal wave, folks. That tidal wave will crest. And the effect of that crest will be effective action that will sweep across this country. Two, return the wealth of this country back into the rightful owners of that wealth. The people of this nation. And we can set the principle of operation up in composite government where, for all time to come, for our children, their children, and their children's children, no more taxation, and actually government performing a positive benefit through given return to the people of this country by performing their function and business as usual. Thank you. Thank you.
It's up to my potatoes, huh? Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hello, So guys, it's Wednesday, February 11th. And there's so much to talk about it. But this is the microphone. How do we start this? So this is something we talk about this person for a while. And it's about Howard Mitnick. So he is the Commerce Secretary. And there's so much to discuss about this man. And guys, he's so central to everything. And it's a protection. This is a Rio de Janeiro, and it's like 90-something degrees outside. And humid. And here I am, layered. Because it's very cold. And it's so different because I have my micro office here. And for some reason the private office area, it is so damn cold. Even where the phone booth is, it's not bad, but over here it is. But anyway, I'm here too. That's why I'm explaining why I have this window here. So anyway, let's go back to the subject. The protection. Ask for protection. Beautiful way of light. Coming on top of my head as a breathe in, or fill my lungs. As a breathe out, I create a circle, step into it. Do I feel protected? I feel connected. I like to ask for information from only from the highest sources, like the goodness source. So, by the way, I'll show you this. The whole imagery of the here, right? It's this white dove. And it's a how do you call it in English? Shizanaka. That's grass. It's a bit like more than grass, but it's sort of like naive. I bought it at the design store because I have to go to the design store or whatever. The local IKEA-ish version, a little bit better than IKEA. I got this Holy Spirit. I'm gonna hang it here. It says made in Brazil. Hotstock is the Brazil divine. That's right. So,
all right.